Shirley Temple began acting at the age of 3. She was a box office sensation before she turned 10. Her wildly popular films were credited with saving 20th Century Fox from bankruptcy.
In every bowl of soup I see lions and tigers watching me. I make 'em jump right through a hoop, those animal crackers in my soup. When I get...
Her acting career peaked during the mid-1930s. She said that people in the Depression wanted something to cheer them up, so they fell in love with a little girl.
On the good ship, lollipop, it's a sweet trip to a candy shop where bonbons play on the sunny beach of Peppermint Bay.
Oh, you could just join in, couldn't you? She was the rare example of a child star who reinvented herself as she grew older. In later life, she was Shirley Temple Black and became a diplomat representing the United States on the world stage, not being ambassador once, but twice, and chief of protocol. Black credited her mother for keeping her grounded from such a young age.
My sweet mother, she called it a job, and I said, what are we going to do today? She said, go to work as usual. There was nothing about, Shirley Temple being anybody special.
Now, Ms. Temple Black served as the US ambassador to Czechoslovakia, as it was then, from 1989 to 1992. Mikhail Zandovsky was President Václav Havel's spokesperson during her term in Prague. He's now the Czech Republic ambassador to the UK. He joins me now live from CNN London. When we hear US ambassadors, we think political appointees, we think people who are just doing the job because they were well known by the president, blish, bash, bosh. But that wasn't the case with Shirley Temple Black, the ambassador. The ambassador knew what she was doing, didn't she?
Absolutely. I mean, she may have been a political appointee, but she's had quite an experience in diplomacy by that time, having been the chief of protocol and an ambassador to Ghana. So she knew what the job was all about.
And what was it like? What was she like in dealing with it? And I mean, as an ambassador, was she good at it?
Well, she was not your standard ambassador. In fact, I think she was not very different from the personality that she emanated as the child actress. She was very personable, very lively. She was gave a sense of performing much of the time, but she did get a job done. And
did she have that diplomat discretion? I mean, one thinks of today's movie actors in Hollywood. The last thing one would think of is discretion. But a diplomat, as you know, sir, you and I have met many times, is all about discretion.
That's right. I mean, she was not your typical ambassador.
But what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? I mean, are you a typical ambassador?
Well, I'm not a typical ambassador either. She had a sense of humor, and a quite wicked sense of humor at times. I mean, she had a dog, a boxer dog. The dog was called Gorby, which, in 1989 was rather courageous.
But you remember her well, and you remember her time well.
I was quite fond of her, and I went to see her later when she retired from the service, and I was the ambassador to Washington, so I went to see her in California, in Woodside, and she was a great host, and we had a lovely time.
Ambassador, thank you very much indeed for joining us tonight.